Throughout 2024, much like 2023, I experienced a lot of media. Whether that be anime, manga, movie, or games, I saw them and ranked them over on Twitter.com. And much like last year's video, I've divided these entries into various chapters in the description. So if you want to see me simply dunking on what I deem the worst media I experienced in 2024, or the best, you just hit up the chapter list, find the letter grade, and go from there. Also, media doesn't have to strictly be released in 2024, it can be from much earlier. All that matters for the sake of this video is if I saw it in 2024. Also, for the sake of transparency, the visuals for this video are going to be a bit of a downgrade compared to last year's because I couldn't find a way to top what I did for the 2023 picks. That's not to say it's going to be a black screen or anything, far from it. Just that it's not going to have the letter grades on the image itself like last year's was. However, if you have your own favorite, or least favorite, pieces of media you experienced in 2024 and would like to share it, post in the comments if you'd like. I'd love to read it. With all that said, let's begin. Fuck, there was a lot of entries for this tier this year. Well, at the very least, picking the absolute worst was easy, so there's that. So what is the worst? Rhapsody Street Kids Believe in Santa. Utter incompetence at every turn. The characters sucked. The story fucking sucked. The animation and art style was absolute garbage. The music sucked. And even the vocal performances sucked. Which is such a fucking shame because they had so many good fucking actors on this project. But damn did they deliver an awful performance. Fuck. I understand this fruit is so low hanging and being the ninth layer of hell, but now that I've seen it for the first time, I don't fucking care. This film is genuinely awful from start to finish, and is something I will make sure to never rewatch, not even for an episode of The Mountie Presents. Hell, I ended up seeing this movie with a friend. This is how they responded to it. And now they're probably plotting my assassination. Well, at the very least, I can give them credit for the cameo / bit in this section, so, anyways, in all seriousness, fuck this movie. Now I just gotta sort out where the other F tier entries are gonna go. Mega Man 5 Game Boy. This one just pissed me off. The weapons and levels suck, the bosses fucking suck, Tango is garbage, the story sucks ass, and even the music fucking sucks. The only positive I can give is that at least they're finally on the NSL service so people can experience it without a PC. But I think what genuinely frustrates me the most is that this is supposed to be a sequel, something meant to improve / fix the flaws of what came before. And this not only fails to do that at all, it also makes things even worse. Somehow the music got worse, the fucking weapons and levels got worse than before. How the fuck does that happen? And sadly, this isn't going to be the only case in 2024 where I played what was effectively a ROM hack, and a garbage one at that, instead of an actual sequel, but I'll get to that in due time. Drama Queen, the first, well, I guess a few chapters in this case, but I'll get to that in a moment. This came across as trying too hard to be offensive / controversial. It's like having a guy scream the N-word as a joke. It's not exactly funny. The art is fucking weak, the characters suck, the dialogue feels like ChatGPT fucking wrote it. It's not a good start. And I'm not even against the idea of a black comedy and or dark comedy, which is what this manga is advertised as. I've made those kinds of jokes on this channel before. I got no issue with it. It's just that I think Drama Queen's attempt at humor fucking sucks because it's trying too hard to be funny instead of having it come out naturally. I guess the equivalent of it is, you know how in Big Bang Theory, I'm going somewhere with this, the character Sheldon Cooper would try really hard to make jokes funny? That's kind of what Drama Queen is. It's like if Sheldon was writing a manga. Also, I guess some people thought the author was trying to make commentary on the aliens being a reference to immigration or some shit. I don't fucking see that at all. Oh, and now I get to address the few chapters bit. I read the chapters after the first one came out, and it did not get any better in terms of its story, and especially comedy. I don't know what the fuck it's doing. I'm surprised it's still going, but whatever. Maybe it'll get better. I don't know. I don't care at this point. As it stands, it's just not funny to me, so I'm just moving the fuck on. Block Blast. I don't care that this doesn't have an ending. This game can fuck right off. The programming constantly cheats by giving you blocks that will not fit no matter what you fucking do. The game modes suck. The ad placements get so bad really quick. The motherfucker is poorly goddamn optimized. Like, this fucker drains a battery quicker than fucking queso drains a goddamn Burger King. It's a terrible fucking game. The Uzumaki anime. I'm not going to spend too much time on this segment because I've already reviewed it. I'll put a card up top for those who want to see that. But yeah, if you told me that the higher-ups used the budget to party for 5 fucking years, I'd believe you, because the story's all over the goddamn place, the characters suck, the animations suck, it's poorly fucking adapted, etc. Again, I go over more details in the video, so I'm just not gonna spend too much time on this, but yeah, this sucks. What a fucking shame. Speaking of which, JoJo Stone Ocean. A massive fucking letdown. The story was a slowly paced, poorly structured garbage fire. The villains fucking sucked, the stand battles sucked, the music and animation were a massive step down from prior parts, and half the main cast are fucking flatter than graphite. This part screams Burnout to me, and that fucking sucks, because it probably has one of my favorite JoJo stars, that being Jolene, and some of the best female written characters in JoJo up to that point in time. Funny enough, the flat characters I was literally bitching about a moment ago were the male characters. The ones that Araki can usually nail pretty well in prior fucking parts. It feels like I stepped into fucking opposite land here. What the hell, Araki? And to close out the F tier is a surprising one for me. Klonoa 2, Lunatea's Veil. I was genuinely stunned at how much worse this got compared to the first game, except for graphics, which are great for the record. But yeah, the story is worse, the music is worse, and the gameplay got fucking worse. Physics got more wonky. I am not at all a fan of the level progression, especially compared to the last game. The hit detection was bad. The level design was atrocious. The boss fights were worse. This was not a fun game at all for me to play. And that sucks for me to say that, because I heard really good things about this series. So yeah, that concludes the F tier. Now I'm going to get into still bad, but not downright horrendous territory. Kicking off D tier, we have Mega Man 3 and 4 on the Game Boy. Both of these suffer the same issues, so I'm grouping the two together here. The level design fucking sucks, the pacing of the game itself is bad, the rush mechanics suck here, the boss fights suck, the music and graphics are barely an improvement from what came before on the Game Boy. It's a goddamn mess. Holy fucking shit, I thought they would have improved from the last couple games, but nope. And speaking of messes, Survivor 46. Oh my fucking god. This was one of the most frustrating seasons I have seen in a good long while. Most of the cast sucked, and some stayed on for way too fucking long. Like Liz, Q, Tiffany, Ben, and especially fucking Banu. The challenges sucked ass, a lot of the gameplay moves were completely idiotic. Nothing fucking worked here. It was basically new-gen Survivor Gabon for me. What the fuck happened here? Now, I will admit, maybe my opinion will soften when I eventually review the season for the Manny Presents, and this may be in a higher tier then. But only time will tell. For now, though, I really hated this fucking thing. The only reason it's not an F tier is because I don't think it's bad enough for that, but it pissed me the fuck off. My Hero Academia. Much like All for One's flames were completely gone by the end, my love for the shonen genre and shonen jump is gone now. The Hideout arc was the high point for me because after that, it started to descend to crap territory. From the abysmal writing decisions, to the art quality degrading for a good chunk, to the terrible fucking fights, to the terrible pacing and bad character development, it got really bad as time went on. And that's not even getting into Shonen Jump treating Horikoshi like shit, because that could be its own separate fucking video. And yeah, I'll flat out admit, I guarantee you a big reason for why the art quality dipped was because Shonen Jump was treating him like fucking dog shit and his health deteriorated. I fucking hate Shonen Jump's practice of treating their mangaka like shit because they're the ones who are making Shonen Jump their goddamn money in the first place. God. But yeah, fuck Shonen Jump. Moving on. Retro City Rampage DX. Graphics and sound were great, but everything else about this game wasn't hitting it for me. The comedy was hit or miss, the gameplay itself got tiresome real quick. It's bloated, the story sucked, the controls were a bit jank. I just didn't have much fun with it. Silent Hill 3. Similar to the last game, the story is pretty good. But oh my god, it's mauled by the fucking gameplay, except now it's even worse. Long swaths of nothing followed by constant fighting with the controls and bad camera. The level design sucks this time around, and even the monster designs suck ass. Look, I mentioned this earlier, but personally, if you're gonna make a sequel, maybe improve on the weak fucking elements. Otherwise, I might as well just play the original game over what is effectively a full-price ROM hack with worse elements. God damn it. Pilotwing 64. When the most fun I have is the helicopter sections, that's a fucking problem. The controls suck, the physics suck, the audio is meh, the missions suck. It's not a good game, basically. And that's a shame. The Awakening EAS. This wasn't the first analog horror series I saw this year, we'll get into that a little bit later, but here we are. This is one giant idiot plot that relies on tell don't show. Sloppy pacing and bad video and audio editing at points, and by that I mean I can't fucking see or hear portions of it, but it's absolutely not the worst analog horror I've seen. It's not Urban Spook, thank fuck, but it's still a letdown personally. Also, there was a knockoff sequel, epilogue, whatever the fuck, that for whatever reason stole footage from another sequel to this? This rabbit hole just gets weirder the more I look into it. I don't get it. Grime. Started off really interesting, but it petered out really fucking quick. The music is phenomenal, and the graphics are great. but the gameplay and story is poorly handled, the platforming sucks as do the physics at points, the upgrades aren't that great, etc. Not very fun basically. Super Metroid Isolation. This game was really rough to play at points. While the graphics and sound are incredible, the level design and the new physics are not my cup of tea at all, and the gameplay got very tiresome after a bit, which is a shame. However, I'm not going to hold it too much against the creator of this because it was one of their early projects, and I'm sure that whatever they do next will probably be a lot better, so I'm not going to hold it against them, and whatever they release next, I'll give it a shot. We like character development in this house. The Man in the Suit. This was the other analog horror series I saw this year, and it started off interesting, but then it got super repetitive and utterly stupid for me to get scared from. At the very least, the editing and original art used are really good. And I'll admit, maybe it'll get better by the time it's finished, because I think they're only up to like chapter 12 or something. But for the moment, it's in D tier. However, I want to get this out of the way. Fuck the people who are harassing the creator of this shit. Like, you have every right to not like this, but going after the creator is just fucking gross. Like, get bent to those people. Like, fuck. Jujutsu Kaisen. For someone getting into manga, this is a really great introduction. It's not too deep, very flashy as fuck, story isn't too complicated. It works really well. Much like SAO, I can absolutely see why people would get into manga because of this. However, and this is why it's in D tier, as someone who has read a lot of manga over the years, this was not at all my cup of tea. The story, characters, and power system were poorly handled or written personally, poor pacing all around, not even the ending worked well for me personally. But again, absolutely recommend this as a starting/jumping on point. But it's just not for me personally speaking, but I got no issue with those who like it. More power to those people. And on that note, on to C tier. Mega Man 1 and 2 on the Game Boy. Similar to 3 and 4, they share similar problems, so I'm just putting them in the same entry. Both have decent graphics and great chiptune versions of the original NES songs, but the level design is garbage, the weapons aren't good here, the bosses suck, it's not very fun, and as I showcased, the games do not get any better. Klonoa Door to Phantom Isle. Adorable game. The music and graphics are great and the story is interesting, but the gameplay is what tanks it for me. Whether it be some bad level design, wonky physics at points, or the boss fights just sucking, it had a lot of potential though. I will give it that, but yeah, this was not my cup of tea. Which is unfortunate. Subnautica. Started off on a fun note, but it dragged on and on as my playthrough continued. At the very least, the graphics and audio are great, as is the story, but the game is bloated with fluff, the durability system hurts the game as the items are way too quick for my liking, the upgrades suck, etc. Unfortunate, but hey, they're making a sequel, maybe they'll make it work then. For now though, I move on. Yu-Gi-Oh! GX Spirit Color. A slower, slightly clunkier version of a game I'll talk about later in the video, and the dual screen only hurts the experience more than helps it. Needless to say, I got bored pretty quickly with this one. Not fun. Super Metroid 11. This one was fine. I liked the level design, but some of the puzzles were a bit cheap, as were some of the locations of a few power-ups. The final boss can fuck off, frankly, but it has some interesting ideas, and I did enjoy it overall. Similar to the last Super Metroid ROM hack I talked about in the video, I'm interested to see what the person will bring out next because this is one of their early projects, and I'm sure they'll knock it out of the park. At the very least, I want to give it a shot. Anyways, next up is Legend of Starfy. I really wanted to recommend this as the graphics are fantastic, the music was great, and the first half had some really damn good levels. And then the second half hits, and then the game slams into a wall. The level design in that sucks, the bosses suck, the bad pacing, the music started to fucking wear on my nerves. It's basically a case of, yeah, the first half is great, and then they blew it in the second half, personally. Chainsaw Man Part 1. There's some interesting stuff here, like Makima's plan and the way she effectively destroyed Denji was handled so well. Genuinely one of my favorite low-to-hate villains in a long time. The art is relatively good and the designs are great, but in between those flashes of brilliance was a lot of nothing for me. As in, I didn't feel anything during those moments. Basically, they were like biting into tofu. Goes through your system, but it effectively leaves nothing to remember it by. But I can understand why people love it, so I got no issue with those people, and I wouldn't say this is a great jumping on point for manga just because it's a little bit more violent than JJK, but I mean, I could see people getting into manga through this though, so I can kinda see it, just not as likely. Holocure Save the Fans. Got told about this one a while back, and it looked interesting. But that feeling of gradual improvement from each run is nearly absent. Fuck that gacha system. The music is meh and the levels weren't that great. But the game is free, so I'll let it slide. Streets of Rogue. Started off fun, but as the game went on, it got super repetitive and very tedious. The aspect of gradual improvement with each run is almost non-existent here, and there's way too many characters that effectively suck to use gameplay-wise. Just so much bloat in the character selection. Just, not my favorite. Emesis Blue. It's amazing that this was animated in Source Filmmaker because this looks really damn good and is animated very well. The VA work is also very fucking good. It's fantastic. That being said, the story's all over the place and the horror is more so absurd than scary, personally. And to close off C tier, we have Slapshot Rebound. At the very least, this game is free, but yeah, this was just not fun to play. Physics were weak, the graphics were meh, the gameplay itself felt more like you'd get points more so from your opponent scoring into their own goal, etc. On to B rank. Kicking off this tier, we have the demo for Metroid Symphony of the Light. This one was okay. Could use some more polish in the graphics/gameplay, and I'm not a fan of the space jump getting a heavy nerf. But this is only a demo, and I'm sure the game will be great once it's finished, and like the other Metroid ROM hacks, I'm interested to check out this person's future works. Frog Detective 2, The Case of the Invisible Wizard. The notebooks and stickers were a neat touch, but this feels like a ROM hack of the first Frog Detective, which does detract the score for me since I'd expect a sequel to improve on elements from the last, and this one doesn't. At the very least, this was fun, so it kinda makes up for it, but yeah. Anyways, next up is the original Frog Detective. I haven't played the third one. Nice little distraction with the cute art style and some funny writing. It's only an hour long, and unlike other games like Shotgun King, which I'll get to in a moment, and Toem, whatever, it's only a couple bucks, but yeah, this was fun. Speaking of, Shotgun King. A nice little flash kit. What do you mean this is 16 bucks Canadian? The graphics are neat and it's slightly addicting/fun, but that price point's a little too fucking high for me, so that's gonna dock it a bit for me. Yu-Gi-Oh! GX Duel Academy. Yeah, this was the Yu-Gi-Oh! Game I was referring to earlier, by the way. Outside of this game not having an ending or much of a story, this game was pretty fun. Good deck balancing, good graphics and audio, but yeah, outside of those two flaws, this was a good game. Gravity Silux's Crusade. It's alright, I liked it. Graphics and sound were good, bosses were interesting, and the level design is fine. Outside of a couple glitches, this was a pretty solid adventure. Again, I'm looking forward to the author's future works, and I'll give them a shot when they release. Harvest Moon SNES. This one was also good. A little clunky at points and very slow during the fall/winter seasons, but it was addicting. The graphics were good, as is the music. It was a fun time. Pokemon Grueling Gold. Like getting kicked in the dick like in Radical Red? This is slightly less painful than that. I recommend it for those who like ROM hacks that substitute casual gameplay with 5,000-piece puzzles. Also, yeah, some of the new Megaforms need some work in terms of the art department. Not my cup of tea. I don't know, maybe I'll do like a redesign video or something in the future. Sailor Moon Season 1 Anime. Since I ended up wrapping up the shitpost series, I could say that this was pretty good. Some of the supporting cast was more interesting and some story ideas were interesting compared to the manga version, but man, Usagi and Mamoru got treated like shit in the writing department here. Still though, I like this season, and maybe I'll check out Season 2 in this year, but we'll see. Fuso's Meteor, Season 1. I like this one for the most part. The story was solid. Reminded me a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh! 5D's early bits, actually. The characters were pretty good, the graphics looked good. Only issue I really had was that the game's a little bit unbalanced with the difficulty sometimes, but who knows, maybe that'll get fixed later on. And to close out the B tier, we have Bara no Konrei, which I probably mispronounced. Saw this with friends as well, and this was fun. Albeit a bit odd in its storytelling. It's basically a silent film version of Dracula, but it was entertaining at least. I liked it. And now on to A tier, the Sonic 1 movie. Pretty good movie with good writing and acting, fun action scenes, pretty comedic, but the pop songs were annoying and it feels more like an isekai with Sonic than a movie set in the Sonic-verse, but it was a good time. I still gotta watch the other two movies, but more on that another time. Road Warden. Graphics were great, story was great, music and gameplay were addicting. It's not perfect since the link's a little bit short and the restricted endings kinda suck, but it was a good experience overall. Super Sentai Strongest Battle. Saw this with friends and it was also a fun time. The story is basically just a thin way to get the teams to fight, but it was good. The main five have good chemistry with each other, the story goes down some interesting turns. The fight scenes were great. Good stuff. Unsolved Mysteries first season. Yes, I've entered my true crime arc. But yeah, no, this was actually a really good season for the most part. Very informative, the cases were really fascinating, and also fucked up at points. Great cinematography for the time. Only issue I really had was the conspiracy theory segments were dumb. Super Asteroid. This one was also pretty good. Loved some of the new mechanics/weapons, level design was solid, and the bosses were good. It is very unbeginner friendly though, since it requires certain speedrunning techniques to clear, so heads up there, but yeah, good stuff. Looking forward to see what the creator's going to bring in the future. Princess Peach Showtime. Yeah, it's a little short, but this was a genuinely fun experience from start to finish. Loved the different abilities, the level design was good, music and graphics were good, etc. It was a fun time. Super Mario Land 1 and 2. Both games were really good. Fun level design, the music, and the sequel fixed a lot of the flaws of the original Super Mario Land. Fun set of games. Quake 2 Remastered. This was genuinely fun. Gameplay is great, the graphics are good, I like the story, the music's fantastic. Very addicting. It was a good time. Quarantine Crystal. Despite the fact that this isn't done yet and has some portions that may need a guide, this was a really fun ROM hack. Graphics and pixel art were good, the mons are great, the quality of life changes are mostly good. this was genuinely fun, and I look forward to this game being completed hopefully in the future. Dead Cells. Really fun roguelike with fantastic graphics and audio to boot. My only real issue I have is that the game can be a little cheap at points, but this thankfully happened on the rare occasion, and it didn't hammer my enjoyment too much. Also, the new updates that came out after I posted my thread were really cool stuff. I love the RoboQuest crossover. Killer Frequency. Great gift of this by my lady, and this was genuinely fun. Graphics are good, story is great, as is the dialogue, the horror is handled really well. It was a really fun time, and save for the rare jump scare, it's nice to see a good horror game again. Nightmare Before Christmas. I was genuinely surprised I never saw this until now, but yeah, it was great. Great songs, fantastic animation, likable main character, and great story. It was fun. And finally for this tier, Pokemon Elite Redux. This one was fun. I adored the quality of life features, some of the story changes were interesting, I love the new Mega Evolution / regular evolutions to older mons. However, it does have a similar issue Radical Red does, where the difficulty is all over the place and kinda kicks you in the dick at points. Not exactly fun, but it was small compared to the numerous moments of fun I was having with this game. And now for the S tier, aka my top 8 media of 2024. Survivor 47. A major fucking turnaround after the garbage fire that was 46. Cast was mostly likable, the challenges were great as were the elimination, the pacing was miles better than 46. It's probably the best of the new era, personally, with a fantastic winner. Absolute kudos. Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. Saw this with my lady, and it was a really good time. The songs were great, the story was good, Joseph was likable, the cinematography was great. It was a really fun time. Tears of the Kingdom. To my surprise, this was genuinely good. The story was decent, the Ultra Hand and similar mechanics were genuinely fun to use, the audio is fantastic, the game rewards you for being creative, it's genuinely fun. However, the dungeons suck ass, and just fuck that price increase. Project Base. Heard about this while looking for Super Metroid ROM hacks, and this was genuinely fun. It adds a few cool quality of life fixes, the changed up map is a bit fun. It's basically just a revamped Super Metroid. The only issue I had is that there's a few glitches, but it's very rare to stumble across. Pokemon Bazaar. This game was fucking incredible. The gameplay was fun, save for the rare glitch, the audio was great, the graphics were well done, I loved the regional variants, and the story was fantastic. Really damn good job. TCG Card Shop Sim. Got gifted for this by my lovely lady, and it was a lot of fun. The graphics were good, the card collecting subsection is great and heavily addicting. Music and gameplay loop are good, etc. And to think, this is only early access so far. If they get this fucker finished, damn, this is gonna be crazy. Ocarina of Time Ultimate Trial. Oh my god, this game is fucking incredible. Mixing in Zelda with roguelike elements works really damn well here from a gameplay and story perspective. The new items are fantastic. The story is incredible. Like, I'm not gonna spoil it, but man, that fucking twist, they pulled that out well, very fucking well. This is fucking amazing. However, it's not my all-time favorite. That honor goes to Spy Family's manga. I read this while waiting on other stuff, and this was genuinely amazing. Sure, the battles aren't all that great, but its story and characters are fantastic, and it gives that great feeling of serotonin when reading. This is genuinely fantastic. Like, the war commentary, the stuff regarding the Desmonds, the whole Anya story, which I hope we get to see her backstory eventually. Even the dog has an interesting fucking backstory. I was saying this during my reading. How did they make the fucking Harriman-looking motherfucker have a really damn sad / interesting backstory? I will never know, but holy shit, they did it. This author is fucking brilliant. Only issue is, I want more content this second, and I gotta wait. In all seriousness though, like, I love this manga, it's great. But yeah, that concludes this video. Did you agree? Disagree? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to read them. Until then, have a fantastic day, everyone.